بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Dear brothers and sisters, respectable teachers and colleagues, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's a pleasure to be here today presenting my paper named Understanding the Stories of Egyptian Muslim Sisterhood on Facebook during the military coup era. This is Heba Zakarya, and I did this paper under the supervision of Dr. Aini Maznina and Dr. Shavizan Mohammed. As an introduction, I'll say by January 2021, 10 years will have passed since the 25th January revolution in Egypt had taken place as a part of the Arab uprising, which opened the door to the Islamic movements to topping the scene in many Arab countries, including Egypt. The Egyptian revolution toppled President Hosni Mubarak and his regime after 30 years in power and after decades of excluding from the political landscape and the mainstream media. The Egyptian Muslim Brotherhood group won the parliamentary and presidential election, presenting in 2012 the first democratically elected civil president in the Egyptian contemporary history, the President Mohammed Morsi. But 1 year after Morsi's election, his Minister of Defense, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, led a military coup against him, ousting Morsi from power and instigating the most brutal crackdown against Muslim Brotherhood in its history, according to Asrafi 2016 and Begani 2017. Muslim Brotherhood, including its female wing Muslim Sisterhood, was declared as a terrorist organization in Egypt in December 2013. Hence, Muslim Sisterhood caught at the center of this political storm, suffering brutal repression during the military coup era and living through the massacres performed by the coup forces against Muslim Brotherhood and its supporters. Overall, Muslim Sisterhood banned from doing any social or political activities and excluded from the traditional media platforms in Egypt. Harlow 2013 argues that Facebook provides an alternative mediation for the Egyptian excluded groups to tell their stories to counteract the lack of stories or the negative stories about them in the traditional media. Furthermore, Israfi 2016 mentioned that social media helps Muslim sisterhood to express their voices during the military coup era. In that sense, this paper aims to collect the stories that Muslim sisterhood published on Facebook since the beginning of the military coup in 3rd July 2013 to the second presidential election during the military coup in 31st March 2018. Considering that telling stories is a basic human nature, and the Facebook provides a new medium through which individuals can wave and share their stories, which reflect their perceptions about the self and the world around based on their experiences, according to Davis 2015. Why Muslim Sisterhood stories? Actually, this paper aims to contribute in bridging or filling four gaps. First, although the previous studies considered the Muslim Brotherhood is one of the most important Islamic movements during the last century and one of the main players on socio-political scene in Egypt, and most of these studies argues that the role of the sisters has been expanded from time to time according to the changes in the political scene, and it became more significant during the repression periods, according to Begani and 2017 and 2015, and Israfi 2016 and Bureau 2015. Despite that, while much has been published about Muslim Brotherhood, only a few scholars have given their attention to Muslim sisterhood. So this is the first gap. The second gap, most of the studies about Muslim sisterhood were conducted from outsiders perspectives, while this paper provides insiders' perspective, which should lead to a better understanding about the Egyptian Muslim sisterhood. Third, the majority of the previous studies have given essential knowledge about the nature of Muslim sisterhood, their features, their organizational relationships and rules, and their social and political activities. But on the other hand, there are no studies analyzed the Muslim sisterhood narrative, not only during the military coup era, but also throughout the organization history. Fourth, actually not only the academic literature, but also the organization's literature has paid very few attention to sisters' stories throughout the organization history. I think only one book, which is Days of My Life, أيام من حياتي in Arabic, has been written by one of the most famous leaders of Muslim sisterhood previous in the last century, Zainab al-Ghazali. أيام من حياتي, this is the name of the book, or Days of My Life. So this is the fourth gap. Apart from these four gaps, using Facebook as a medium for telling one's own story is still a promising field for study, since Facebook develops its tools and the users develop their uses accordingly. As such, this paper offers significant potential for the exploration of knowledge about telling the stories via Facebook in general and by Muslim sisterhood in specific. Based on the above, the research question of this paper is what are the stories told by Egyptian Muslim sisterhood members on Facebook during the military coup era and how they have been changed by time. Also, this paper depends on the narrative paradigm, where Fisher 1989 considers a human or assumes a human is a storyteller by nature. Hence, each communicative content could be analyzed to collect the included stories. Study stories refers to investigate what has been said or how it has been said. In this paper, we only investigate what has been said. Regarding to the methodology, this is a qualitative study in which we can analyze, understand, and explain the unique experience of human beings, according to Merrigan and Austin 2004. This study or paper utilized qualitative content analysis to classify vast amount of text into an efficient number of categories that represent similar meanings and reflect the patterns. The sample of this study is 3,344 Facebook written Arabic posts have been published by 6 sisters on their personal Facebook accounts during 189 days within 15 events which taken place during the period of this study since from 3rd July 2013 to 31st March 2018. Data analysis with this study used the thematic analysis, which is a process for identify patterns or themes within qualitative data through 6 steps framework. In order to generate the themes, I focused on the stories which are relevant to the military coup and its consequences on the sisters' lives. And the common stories among the 6 sisters, and the continuous stories within the 5 years. So it's this is the 3 criteria to generate the themes. To identify the changes of the stories, I was keen to save and organize each story's post in chronological order, from the oldest to the most recent, to investigate the changes in each sister's narration within the same story by time. In terms of trustworthiness, I applied three strategies: reflexivity, intercoder agreement, and vast data analysis. The findings of this study is 10 main stories have been continually and collectively told by the sisters via Facebook throughout the period analyzed, and only one minor story which has been collectively told but not continually through the same period, but it was limited with certain event. In addition, the researcher noted that some stories have more than one sub-theme that integrate to weave each story. The 10 stories are: it's a military coup, the victims, us and others, anti-Islam war, media war, the organization battle, the massacres we will never forget, Muslim women in the center of the storm, al-Harair or free women, the transformers, and the minor story is Utopia, the victory square. In conclusion, the sisters' narrative can be considered as a multi-dimensions narrative, in which we can find like social, political, personal, organizational, and so on as dimensions. It reflects their feelings, experiences, perceptions, thoughts, and beliefs. The Muslim female within this case or this study, the Muslim female activists or Muslim sisterhood deal with two types of experience under the co-representation: as activist and as a family member who are suffering is the absence of husband and the kids who are killed or jailed. Hence, I argue it is very rich topic to be studied and enrich the knowledge in general. Within their stories, the sisters have received the four main actors: the self-organization, society, and regime. Thus, these stories can be analyzed to generate a deeper understanding about the sister construction of reality. The sisters expressed The sisters expressed diverse points of view concerning similar stories. In some cases, the same sister changed the way that she tells the same story from time to time. The differences among the sisters reflect how the sisters' previous experiences and conditions interacted with the new experiences and conditions that they lived through during the military coup era and influenced the way they told their stories. The differences and the changes which are discussed in this research show that Facebook provided an open platform which not only allowed the sisters to tell their stories about the military coup era despite their exclusion from the mainstream state media in Egypt, but also gave them the opportunity to tell the stories in their own way, free from the Muslim Brotherhood official narration. Finally, I hope this study grabs the researchers' attention to the importance of the female narrative in general and the Muslim female activist narrative in specific, and opens the door for more studies about it in several contexts and from different aspects. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.